strippers of Reddit. What's your weirdest story while working? One of our old dancers passed away 10 years ago in a drunk driving accident. Every holiday her mom and some of her church friends come into the club and pass cookies and jewelry to girls in memorial. We love our sweet church ladies. I'm one of 5 secular musicians who plays music at the same church as a side hustle, and I gotta say, there's a pretty decent number of decent non-judgmental folks at some churches. Not a stripper, but owe my life to one. Used to work at a strip joint as head of security. One of the girls, they called me little brother, so I called them girls, said one of the patrons was creeping her out. We made creepy. We are talking Scooby-Doo creepy. Dude leave. Girl then asked for someone to walk her to the car as she had a bad feeling. I said I would as I was not busy. I went out first, checked around, and did not see anyone in the parking lot. Went and got the girl and started to walk her to her car. Creepy dude came out from the dumpster. I did not see him in time, and he smacked me in the back of the head with a fan brick. I go down to both knees. I hear high-pitched girly screams. I'm trying to get to my feet, clear the cobwebs. Thankfully I have more bone than brain. Only to find the girl smashing the creep's head into the ground after she literally crushed one of his testicles with her foot. She said he was trying to smash the brick into my head a second time when she went on the offensive. Did a hell of a number on him. Oh god, I have plenty of weird shit that is all kinda tied for weirdest. My first customer my manager talked me into going up to. He wanted a Peep Show. Basically where you charge anything you want as a fee up front and you'll go down this little hall and enter a room that's divided by a big mirror covered with a curtain. It's supposed to be one way, but you can definition see the guy. There's vinyl benches in both rooms as well as an old-fashioned wall phone. The guy puts money in a machine and the curtain on the one-way mirror goes up to reveal, tada, you, and then you both pick up the phone and you basically dirty talk and put on a show, striptease, or whatever, while the guy jerks it. The curtain only stays up for a few minutes, so he has to keep putting money in, and the point is to drag it out as long as possible, and it started relatively normal, and then he started talking about all this weird bestiality shit, and do I watch my parents fuck? I couldn't do it, and ended up bailing, while all my coworkers and managers laughed at me because he was a regular, and they knew he was a strange one. It was my initiation, and before I understood the just go along with it for the money thing that you do sometimes lol. Plus I was horrified to realize you could definition see the guy jerking it and all the gross cum stains on the mirror. Second club I worked at, I had this super nice straight-laced lawyer that would come in and often paid me just to talk and relax while he had some drinks, and I actually really liked him because he was super smart, well spoken, and we had great conversation. When he'd want to dance though, he'd get one of the bigger rooms and all he wanted was to take his shirt off and for me to flick and twist his nipples while I danced. Didn't want me dancing on him, didn't touch himself or anything, would literally go just from me touching his nipples. It was different, but the money was great, and he was a nice dude. Also had an extremely large dude that used to come in and would never say a word to me, just showed me money and pointed towards the back. Honestly I never wanted to go because he was so big, I just didn't know what to do really. It's not like I could straddle him because he was so large, I'd basically be grinding on his stomach, which I thought was weird. Anyway, he never ever spoke a word to me, and I'd always dance standing in front of him and just do a slow striptease kinda thing. He always sat on his hands with a blank look, tipped pretty well, and that was it. Also worked with a girl who clearly had a death wish BC. She'd leave with random guys all the time and often would come in asking to borrow panties BC. She'd bum rides from guys in exchange for sexual favors and would be extremely graphic about how cum-soaked her panties were and how she needed a new pair for work. IDK why she wouldn't just pack an extra pair or, you know, not do that. But the shit that came out of her mouth and the things she did, incredibly strange. Edit. Also, BC I read the comments and some of the injury stories. This particular club was smaller, and around the front of the stage was a half circle bar where guys could sit at, and then the rest of the front room was tables and chairs. The bar part connected with the stage, so often girls would crawl around / lay on the bar or whatever, and then obviously get up close to shake their tits or ass for whoever tipped. Had a bunch of drunk college dicks come in one night who all sat at the bar and kept throwing change at the girl on stage. DJ warned them, and they stopped, except one guy who kept trying to pelt her with pennies. Manager came and said if he did it again, they were all out. Manager goes back to the bar, but is watching them close. Guy does it again, and before the manager even begins to walk over, the girl snaps, loses her shit and beats the fuck out of him with her shoe. I was in the back at the time, but they had to call an ambulance for him, and it was a big deal. She had been near him on the bar when he did it, so she initially kicked him in the face and then ripped her shoe off, basically tackled him, so he fell backwards in his chair and just went at him with the heel. Couldn't see anything, see all the commotion, and the security guards were trying to get all the girls in the back / keep the girls that were already in the back there and wouldn't let us on the floor, but heard what happened from girls that were on the floor at the time after. Edit. I didn't think this would get any attention, let alone this much. Thanks guys. Y'all have got me debating how far down the rabbit hole I wanna take y'all. I've got more lol, but this is already a book. If you're throwing fucking pennies at anyone, you deserve to get the shit beat out of you with whatever kind of shoes they're wearing. I had a customer whose wife had committed suicide after a long battle with depression. He would buy multiple champagne rooms once a month and share stories about her. The funny look she'd give him sometimes when he told a flat joke, the way he loved how she twirled her hair, how they met, her favorite food, etc. Hours and hours of crying and sharing memories about this woman he loved so dearly. It was weird because it was so pure. I'm actually getting a little choked up now thinking about it. He loved her so damn much, so damn much. Hick Club Guy, who was a celery farmer, came in and gave us all 3 bags of celery. There was also Candle Guy, worked at a candle factory and would bring in the reject. Supposedly other farmers with various free foods would come in, but I only got hooked up with celery and candles. Edit. Thanks for the awards. I have lots of unwholesome stories from my time on the pole, but it was nice to share a harmless one for a change. The only appropriate way to stalk a stripper. Edit. Obligatory thanks for the golden gifts, kind strangers. Also shout out to those who shared the Chelsea FC celery chant. Amazing. Reminds me of when I worked at Waffle House. We had this old man regular who would come in the mornings pretty often, and he'd always bring everyone grapes or apples. They were the best apples ever. After handing them out, he would sort through all his mail and order hash browns scattered well. They were practically burnt to a crisp, but cooked any less than that and he would, politely, lose his shit. Miss that place. A friend of mine has a guy come in every day and asks for a bajol burnt to shit his words. My friend just turns down the conveyor on the toaster and it usually results in the bajol catching fire. This is perfectly fine with that customer. Have a friend who gets a restaurant to run toast through the toaster twice. Only eats it if it's carbon. I was the bartender at a strip club for a few months once. I have seen and heard some crazy stories. Classic strip club stuff. But this one time, a customer brought in her pet parrot to the bar. I obviously spent the rest of my shift talking with the parrot. His name was Pickle. He tipped me $1. He was a real gem. Man, getting tipped $1 by a parrot. I'd frame it. I have a short video still of it. There's a very sweet older man who is a regular at my club. He's never gropey and always tips in 20s. His only request is to lick and suck in the bottom of our shoes. I can't see the harm in it, but it grosses some girls out. I guess so long as he's paying, he can shine my shoes all day lol. Our club has been closed for months now. I wonder how he's doing these days. Probably a lot healthier, you would have to think. That man is immune to every disease and virus on this planet. Dude knew the pandemic was coming and has been training his immune system in strip clubs. Infinite IQ. Not a stripper, but was an escort. A man booked me for $400 for 2 hours just to get naked to have dinner in the room and talk to him on the bed. Never wanted sex. Just be naked and talk about stuff. He said he never get to talk to his wife like that. Kinda sad for him. I've had friends/relatives with marriages with seemingly no connections like this. An old friend of mine had sex so infrequently with his wife that when she wanted to have a baby he was over the moon with excitement. And of course she got pregnant on the first try, then immediately shut him down again. Poor guy was a genuinely good person, perfect husband and dad, and his wife treated him like she stepped in something. She was a total cunt to me and my wife too. I always wanted to ask him why doesn't bail, but I figure it's not my place. I can't understand it. How do these marriages keep going for so long? Edit. This got a lot of response overnight, especially from the armchair psychologists, and I'm not up for answering every reply. So let me put to bed. See what I did there. The more common ones. 1. No, I do not think she was pregnant by another dude and trying to pawn it off on him. Where do you people come up with these unlikely scenarios? She was just one of those miserable bitches that takes everything too seriously and refuses to enjoy life and thinks you shouldn't either. Yes, it is unusual to get pregnant on the first try, unless you know this chick and know she is the type to turn it into a soulless mathematical equation to ensure she had it the first time. She's incapable of having fun, and an affair would be fun, albeit unethical, too. This happened over 20 years ago. I've since lost touch with the guy, and his kids would be adults at this point anyway. Please stop telling me to have a talk with him. It ain't gonna happen. 3. I'm a big boy. I can figure out when it is appropriate to comment on someone's marriage, and when it is not my place. Despite us being good friends at the time, it was definitely not my place to get involved in his marriage. It is no idle comment to tell someone to leave their wife. Jesus, it's like r/relationship_advice is leaking into this sub. You people need to get a grip. 4. Yes, I realize there are many other reasons to stay married other than sex. But if you truly love someone you will want them to be happy. If that means flopping on your back and at least attempting to have a good time, that is what you do. I know I would do that for my wife. It would have been a whole 10 minutes out of her day once a month to have kept him happy. No marriage ends over sex. Marriages end when the two sides stop working to make each other happy. A buddy paid me back $200 with a banded stack of $2 bills. Went to a nearby club with a friend and all was well, until a young dancer took the stage. We began putting money on the stage and she just stops and says, "What the fuck is this?" Apparently she hadn't seen a $2 bill before. That's funny considering I've heard some clubs give out $2 bills if you need change for larger bills for tipping. The girls are liable to get more since the minimum tip is $2 if you got change, and you're encouraged to spend all of them because everyone else in town knows where you got a bunch of $2 bills from. I feel like most dancers have countless stories. Hard to find weird ones because they're all a little odd and it becomes normal over time. One man spent over $1,000 on me over a couple hours. I massaged his back and he fell asleep in a champagne room. When he woke up he said, "How did you know exactly what I needed?" After the champagne room he wanted more time with me and we went to do several private dances. He cried during them while I sat on his lap and sang to him and brushed his hair back, massaging his scalp with my nails. Another man came up to me garbling about worshipping me and wanting to lick the bottom of my heels, suck the stiletto and drink my urine. It was so slow, and I was reading a book in the back of the club, so I was awfully surprised when someone approached me and unleashed all of that on me. My manager said he'd pee in a glass for me if I really wanted to go for it. Edit, wording and added some more details. Also, the song in the first story was Breeze Blocks. For those of you setting the tone with Sarah McLachlan playing in your head. Who heard that first dude WTF? Yeah, the story about him reminds me of those rescue puppy videos on YouTube where the puppy cries and is terrified to be touched. Equals. Does a third party experience count? A few years ago, when Skyrim was still all the rage, got dragged to a strip club with a friend's birthday party. Noticed that one of the strippers had a Skyrim logo tattoo for a tramp stamp, the Septim Dragon / Diamond. Pointed it out to the guys in the party, and one dude peeled off to get a dance from her. Fast forward a couple hours and we realized that he never came back to join us. I went looking for him and sure enough, he's sitting in one of the private dance booths. The chick is naked sitting next to him. He's rubbing her feet and they are discussing Skyrim mods. Later on it turned out he ended up spending $400 for the pleasure and she didn't do a single dance for him. Is your friend's name Henry, and does he have a channel called MXR Mods? So that's how he met Jeannie. Not really weird but sad. One time I was doing a VIP session, and this dude legitimately told me to stop dancing, and basically broke down in front of me, telling me he was only there because his friends dragged him along to cheer him up. From what he told me he caught his wife in bed with another man, and they recently just got divorced. He told me his now ex-wife told his kids that he was the one cheating, and his kids basically hated him now. I've never felt so bad for a total stranger all my life. This just happened to my friends and family. The wife had an affair with another man and was caught twice. Each time she apologized. News came in today that she somehow made the husband go to sleep or made him unconscious somehow and left with everything valuable, jewelry, money etc. and both of the daughters. I really don't get how people could do this to anyone. Edit. Fixed typos and made context more clear. So she drugged him, robbed him, and abducted the children? Time to call the cops. Not a stripper, but have a funny story from the only time I've been to a strip club. On a night out at university, my friend had just broken up with his girlfriend so dragged me into one of clubs in town. He paid for me to have a dance whilst he tried to bet with one of the others by flipping a coin. Heads he gets the dance for free, tails he pays double. It was tails. Anyway, during my dance, I was chatting to the girl who was a similar age, and we found out we were both studying law, although she was a year below, and at a separate university. We spent the majority of the dance discussing contract law and our experiences as a student. She ended up giving me her email address, and I sent her all of my notes from the previous/current year to help her out. She'll have graduated by now, so I often wonder what she's up to. It all ended up being quite a wholesome night considering. I went with my friend on a sorta slow Tuesday night. Met this dancer that hated this one creepy dude and asked me to keep buying dances and she'll pay me back and take me to the 24-hour folk place. Heard this one before. I keep buying dances and we talk about Zelda OOT. End of the night comes around. She gives me her number and texts me to meet at the folk place in an hour. A woman of her word, she gives me my cash back and buys me pho. TL. Dr. Stripper bought me pho. Had her I never would have believed that. Sounds like the oldest trick in the book. But she said she was doing to meet me to the bouncer as they escort you out. But no, this is a stripper who chose to make $0 for her shift to avoid a creepy guy. Avoiding a creepy guy in a strip club. #1. Guy was in with his 20-something son. I get the guy to go for a dance. We're in the booth nearest to the entry foyer area. Partway through the song, I look over and see a group paying the cover, one of which is a girl who is staring at us. Next thing I know, this chick has plopped down in the booth next to the guy and goes, "Hi dad." The whole family had come to the strip club. #2. A few of us shared the same regular customer. Very nice soft spoken man. Played the ukulele as a hobby and drank ginger ale in the club. Always bought at least a half-hour VIP, often multiple hours, and tipped well on top. Absolute gem of a customer. The catch was that he had a combination of fetishes. He would wear a chastity belt with a chain on it so the girls could pull on it. He also liked to imagine he was a puppy and do this third-person roleplay bit. Like, he would say, if you and other dancer had a slumber party, what would you want puppy to do? Would you put puppy in his cage? I have lots of stories, but those are the weirdest that spring to mind. Hi dad IDK, if that's an okay thing to say in a strip club lol. Honestly, if it were me running into my dad at a strip club, I would also probably loudly call him dad and give him endless shit. But also like leave very quickly because ooh. The end. Thanks for watching.